Teaching is a terrible process, but you can make it acceptable. You can make it even lovable. Because what can happen that you meet the real, interesting human beings, young people who think differently, who wants to know, who are full of passion, who would like to know. Quite often I'm telling, when I start, for example, a workshop, I said to them, as a matter of fact, I don't want to teach. I don't feel pleasure. But if you press me, I will feel that it is important for you, you will behave like a pain in the ass. You will force me and put a lot of questions, and you will be disappointed if I would just say two general things. You would like to know more specific things. Then I am ready to give you everything what I have. There is no secrets.
Na, wie auch immer. Nee, aber ich glaube, da besteht jetzt relativ wenig Gefahr. Die haben auch vernünftige Leute angesprochen und so. Also ich glaube, das kriegen. I love documentary filmmaking. Not only like it, I love it. I think it's a way to get to places and to get to know people I never would get to know otherwise. And it's not only a means to, no, it's not only a way to do this, but it somehow allows you to do this. Because you're not just curious, you have a role as a documentary filmmaker. So this makes it somehow easier, somehow difficult, more difficult, but well, that's what I really like. To learn something about others, but I also learn something about myself.
So this was burnt house, and then they picked up the materials afterwards. pacient.
Шукато.
Ашика, десетка коякова, Марадона, параджеля минорки. Джана.
Котрий дякую, Лілі? Алло?
What kind of support is helpful for you that you make a better film?
Time. Time is crucial. You need time. Time to think. And in the second step, at least for me, I need somebody to talk to, which is very hard sometimes, because I have to find the right point. I'm not very talkative when it comes to own projects. I had to learn this, but I learned that it's extremely helpful. But I have to find the right point in the process. If it's too early, then I tend to I'm discouraged or. Don't know what, but I have to find the right point, and then it's absolutely necessary.
You know, I have no any great, wonderful idea which suddenly will change. I think that the teaching process, didactic process, it's extremely complicated. It looks that. We could say, okay, if there are the right tutors and they know what they are talking about, they say what they know, and then the knowledge comes to the next generation, to younger directors, and they will use it. Bullshit. It's not true, Good teacher, good should be kind of, first of all, it's very much connecting with psychology, the process.
This is my experience. I think it's like you are looking for a person, you fall in love. And this could be everyone, or this could be everywhere. And I was lucky to find someone who fits to my story and who fits to this kind of screenplay.
And I think that seduction, it's very important element, because there is something in a good teaching. There is something like a seduction process. Quite often it has happened that the pupils, they fall in love in the teacher, or opposite, because it's not a superficial process when you just inform. You have to come to the much deeper levels of humanity. So it's good to know what they think about cooking, what dreams, about love, about death.
I have to trust them in a way. That doesn't mean it has to be someone which is really close to me. That's not necessary, but there has to be trust and respect. And he or she should be able to listen in the first place, you have to listen. Well, and to take those. I think when you start thinking about a project, it's not the big line. So you have sort of Bausteine, components, but you don't. Maybe you don't have the whole thing. And I think he or she has to be able not to do my work. And my work is to put these things together. So I don't need somebody who tells me how to do it, because it's my film. I need somebody who asks the right questions. I think that's a real good method, at least for me, asking the right questions, which make me think.
Зачем вы приехали?
Пригласить вас на работу в дирижаблестрой.
Вы приглашаете меня? Вы сумасшедший. Бумажка.
Всего лишь удостоверение начальника дирижаблестроя.
О, Баядера, свет далекой мечты. О, Баядера, мне нужна только ты.
Дядя, зачем вы его забираете?
Очень нужен. А должность ваша будет...
Дирижаблестрой, я готов полы подметать.
Будете главным конструктором, Петр Николаевич.
Неважно. Главное, чтобы они летали.
Кто они?
Советские дирижабли.
One year, let's say, it's a wonderful, it's a great. People love each other, hate each other, and it's full of emotions, and they learn a lot, and you feel as a tutor that something has happened. Next year, the same program, the same tutors, nothing has happened. You feel that it's just... So, what I am saying, that the teaching, it's an art. That's the same process when you have to be emotionally prepared to give and influence fully your personality. It's not only a knowledge which I know, because that's quite easy. But as a matter of fact, they could have it from the books. So what's the difference? That's a difference to meet the human beings.
What we did try was to look at the different needs that was not addressed for the moment, and or the different format that was not addressed. I think what we made sure was that there were no segment of the industry or type of functions that should not be trained. One example was at festivals. I didn't have any training course on festival management, and I was vocal enough about this lack in our portfolio, and eventually some training course made it. The same thing for TV series management, TV series writing. It was a lack in our portfolio and we did try to fill in this gap. There were no training courses to address broadcasters or funders, and eventually we had several training courses addressing an important element of the industry, which is to train the key decision maker, at least the one that can sign a check, and are a very important element of this industry. So what we did try was to expand a little bit the course to make sure that the scope and target groups were all addressed. Another element that we are happy to have more and more is a training course where people from different segments of the industry can talk to each other. So not only training producers, not only training broadcaster, not only training funders, but also having training courses where all those people can talk to each other, better understand the needs, the specificities, the motivation of each other, so that they can perform much better.
So it should be highest instance. It should be kind of a pope in a pope position to inspire absolutely the best the highest standards. European level should be the most radical in this sense, and this would help the artists and cultural groups or people of culture in different countries that usually have to battle with bureaucracies and politicians that are basically hating the real thing. So, European Union should lead a battle, because it's in the interest of existence and success of European Union to have excellent culture. And now this is not the case. European Union is in trouble, and it is in trouble also because the European culture, meaning art, is in trouble, and it's not in trouble in every sense.
The things that we didn't manage to really crack the code for is dissemination. We are good, through the training providers, to train the target group of a training course. Usually a training course develop a lot of knowledge, skills, intelligence at one point. In one moment in a room there is an immense intelligence or an immense knowledge that is given birth. But to be able to disseminate part of it and encapsulate the key element of it, we don't have enough good practice of it.
The work that I and that we, my wife and Enza Sparre and me are doing has to do with a lot of different fields, and it started with working in therapy, then going to consultation, then to supervision, coaching, mediation, and quite early already we met people from different creative fields and started working on their type of activity creation, and it started, among others, with working with professional fairy tale tellers, some people writing novels, with some people doing documentary films, and other people working on entertainment of different types, and also with students in the University of Film and TV, in the Drehbuchwerkstatt in the University of Film and TV in Munich. And we first were very interested how the grammar and methods of those things that we developed in the structural constellations approach can be applied to different fields, because we considered what we are doing as a sort of language. And language should not prescribe what you are talking about. So when you can talk in that language with that grammar in the field of consultation therapy and coaching, we thought it should also be applicable to other fields. And so we were very interested in to look at these other fields to find out what is essential for the grammar and what just has to do with the content we are applying the language to. And we often think it's easier to find a way if the crown of the tree of possibilities gets broader, and not just if we get the one right single branch, because we don't believe in the existence of the one right single branch. So we were working in the direction of enlarging relevant possibilities, so what we would be calling options. And that is maybe the most surprising and maybe the most important one, is what we are calling representative perception. And representative perception is this ability to be in contact with topics of another person by changes in your body perception and your emotions and your thoughts and your impulses and your tendencies, but starting with something very simple like perception of your own body, like for instance feeling relaxed or tense, having deep breath or shallow breath, noticing your heartbeat or don't noticing it at all, feeling more on the left or the right side, very simple differences like that. And the strange thing is, in representations like a structural constellation, people notice these differences even if they are not informed about the content of the piece, the script, the novel, or whatever is modeled. And so we would say this is so surprising that it doesn't make much sense to tell somebody, believe me, but rather tell somebody how to make that experience for him or herself, and otherwise, it's after that, it's easier to believe that.
Transport carts rolled, roared, and sank in the mud. The morning seeped out of us like chloroform seeping over a hospital table. "You married, Yutov?" Volkov suddenly said, sitting behind me. "My wife left me," I answered, dozing off for a few seconds, and I dreamed that I was sleeping in a bed. Silence. Our horse totters. "2 more versts and this mare will be finished," Volkov says, sitting behind me. Silence. "We've lost the campaign," Volkov mutters, and begins to snore. "Yes," I say.
And in the writer's room, there is one guy that, you know, who would be, you know, who will take care of one character, another, a scriptwriter, a female scriptwriter who would take care of the female part, female cast, another one who will bring his own, technical expertise, another one that would, make sure that the plot is in. And I thought that, wow, that sounds like so powerful. And I thought, is it possible to have this kind of techniques, not necessarily for TV series, but to apply the kind of collaboration or collaborative way of approaching the writing of a film?
I'm absolutely sure that there is only one way if we are serious. If we want to treat our job and our participants, if we want to treat seriously, then you don't expect immediate results. I'm not saying it cannot happen, but immediate results, that's something completely different.
And also, if we look at the results, we might especially become blind for the most creative steps. Because when a new style in painting arrived, when a new style in music arrived, when a new literary style arrived, then of course not everything was immediately successful. So if we have not a deep curiosity and a deep caring for the possibility of certain things arising that are not immediately successful, then we will generate a very, you could say, unalive, fixed, a surrounding in which nothing really creative will and can happen. So measuring can kill creativity, and on the other side, if I deny all these aspects, I will destroy the foundations for supporting creativity. And therefore, somebody who works at this field should have both aspects. The responsibility of looking top-down, but also the curiosity and caring and fascination by the beautiful seeds.
It's very seldom you hear that it's a matter of life and death, that culture and art, two different things, art in particular, is something that is creating us, that is something that we are made of. If we are not a cliché individuals in a cliché society, in a cliché European Union, in a cliché world. If there is some trace of something authentic in us, this is usually the result of art. And this goes also for individuals, but this goes for all kinds of social units. National, or regional, or whatever, all the identities we have. What are identities created by? Works of art, because otherwise it would be very poor. The works of art are enlarging our ways of seeing, hearing, using our language, using all kinds of languages. And if this process stops, then we stop and the society stops and cannot renovate itself, stops being creative, stops being productive. We are in big kind of economical stagnation that has been there for years in Europe. I think this is strongly linked to the crisis that I think is a cultural crisis.